Heneghan, Deutsche Bank has collapsed, September 29, 2016. Thursday, September 29, 2016. Deutsche Bank has collapsed. By Tom Heneghan, international intelligence expert. United States of America. It can now be reported that Deutsche Bank is broke. Insider: Deutsche Bank collapse tomorrow, Friday the 30th of September 2016, will wipe out banking system worldwide. Post by Newsroom, Sept 29, 2016. www.superstation95.com web link. Insider: Deutsche Bank collapse tomorrow, Friday the 30th of September 2016, will wipe out banking system worldwide. German bank insiders are confirming to Superstation 95 that Germany's largest bank, Deutsche Bank, will collapse tomorrow, Friday, September 30th, 2016. The German government has no plans to bail out the bank, and its demise could wipe out banks in the US and other countries worldwide. According to the insider, system downfall tomorrow. A collapse of this bank is unavoidable now, and it wipes out everything immediately. Wolfgang Goeck, president of the Bavarian Finance Center. The German bank sees in a serious imbalance. This is absolutely not about peanuts. We experience real shockwaves. The bank is in real trouble, Goeck said the Thursday edition of the Passé New Press. This is as good as a death sentence. It is insider info, presumably from the DB itself, after the financial collapse is to take place on the 30th of September. More, a run is taking place against Deutsche Bank in Germany as citizens rush to take out money. But they are being systematically delayed. At least on deposit ordered €2,000 transferred out yesterday via wire transfer. At close of business, Deutsche Bank had still not sent the money. When challenged, the bank claimed they needed to verify all the information. The deposit now says he feels they no longer have liquidity and cannot pay depositors. Update 12:58 p.m. EDT. Germans are being quietly told that all banks in Germany will close on October 1st. All ATMs, credit and debit cards are likely to be unavailable for unknown duration. European Central Bank Chairman Draghi refused to talk about Deutsche Bank today, saying it is not his fault the bank appears to be in trouble. German insider. There is panic in DB now. A lot of people withdraw money, close accounts. One guy says he transferred €25,000 and the bank called him back if the amount and transaction is correct and true. Still has not sent the money. This is a developing story, please check back. Stock markets worldwide have now tuned into this situation and they are falling fast. Last modified on Thursday, the 29th of September 2016, 13:07. www.superstation95.com web link. Vital intelligence briefings. August 4, 2013. It can now be reported that the nation of Yemen has arrested five Israeli Mossad agents who have been operating an alleged al-Qaeda terror cell on Yemeni soil. This new Israeli spy ring is responsible for the alleged terrorist threats made against the American, British, German and French diplomatic installations around the world. Note, the five Israeli Mossad agents masquerading as al-Qaeda terrorists also have ties to the American-Turkish Council operating out of Istanbul, Turkey. The American-Turkish Council, which has direct working relationship with the U.S. State Department, was responsible for the assassination of the late U.S. Ambassador to Libya Christopher Stevens and 3 other Americans in Benghazi, Libya. P.S. At this hour the Obama administration, along with the U.S. State Department, the CIA and the Department of Justice, are involved in a massive obstruction of justice operation in attempting to silence former and current CIA employees who are material witnesses to the massive treason that took place in Benghazi, Libya on the 9th of November 2012. GOP Rep. Obama WH is hiding Benghazi survivors and changing their names. www.thegatewaypundit.com web link. PPS. We can also divulge that Canadian intelligence officials have turned over new evidence to the U.S. Department of Justice that fingers two Iranian intelligence officers, Shahbaz Khair and Rajaza, as the operatives responsible for the Patriot Day bombing in Boston, Massachusetts, Operation Whack-a-Mole aka Benghazi blowback. Note, Both Askaya and Jaza were part of a four-man team that were on the ground in Boston and included two Saudi nationals that escaped and flew out of Boston Logan Airport on a Lufthansa flight that arrived in the nation of Liechtenstein. The two were assassinated the next day by outsourced Israeli Mossad assets, Blackwater mercenaries tied to British MI6, while they were on their way to the National Bank of Liechtenstein to receive their commissions. The commissions were to be paid out to by none other than an American-Turkish council account at the National Bank of Liechtenstein. Tom Heneghan Intelligence Briefing April of 2013. The joint U.S. French Intelligence Task Force has also fingered the entity responsible for the Boston, Massachusetts Black Op aka False Flag, which was, once again, aka Oklahoma City, 9/11, Aurora, Colorado, Sandy Hook and now the False Flag in Boston, a direct attack against the American people. The entity responsible for this satanic criminality is the NSA, National Security Agency, Israeli Mossad, Nazi German Beckersel in Hamburg, Germany, also tied to 9/11. Most of these bought and paid for assassins, including the crisis actors, have already left the United States on a Lufthansa flight that took them to none other than the nation of Liechtenstein, where they will get paid commissions for committing murder and mayhem by this Nazi German Deutsche Bank Deutsche financial institution, the National Bank of Liechtenstein. Item, they are both Saudi Arabians with direct ties to Saudi intelligence and the Israeli Mossad. As reported last night, the two operatives took a Lufthansa jet to the Liechtenstein capital of Vaduz 5 hours after the Boston bombing. They paid cash for the tickets and used Israeli passports to board the Lufthansa flight at Boston Logan Airport. P.S. We can now divulge that the two operatives tied to the U.S. and the Israeli Mossad were assassinated today on streets of the Liechtenstein capital while they were on their way to a bank in Liechtenstein to receive their commission for staging this act of treason against the American people. Note, the assassination team was outsourced by the U.S. and the Israeli Mossad to Blackwater mercenaries tied to British MI6. PPS. At this hour we can reveal that Israel Mossad agent, Weasel and foreign-born Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel has been fingered by the joint U.S. French Intelligence Task Force, aka the Resistance, operating on American soil as the individual who helped coordinate the false flag Black Op attack that murdered and injured American citizens in Boston, Massachusetts. The two Iranians were arrested on April 23, 2013 by Canadian law enforcement and charged with plotting a terrorist attack against a Canadian passenger train that just so happened to have 3 former CIA officials as passengers who had worked at the Benghazi, Libyan outpost. It is not a coincidence that Canadian officials have produced evidence showing that the 2 Iranians arrested in the plot to bomb a Canadian passenger train were also employees of none other than the American-Turkish Council. Item. Tzvika the crisis actor and patsy and former Department of Homeland Security employee, who is on trial now for the Boston bombing false flag, remains totally innocent. We can now divulge that Sarnoff was never wounded in the neck and the injuries he received were at the Jewish-administered hospital in Boston when the FBI and CIA officials violated Sarnoff's Miranda rights and then used intimidation and physical assault in a failed attempt to get Sarnoff to give them a false confession. www.tomheneghanbriefings.com web link. January 31, 2016. It can now be reported that four of the now classified top-secret national security emails tied to the FBI investigation of former U.S. Secretary of State Nazi neocon Hillary Rodham Clinton deal with the existence of domestic political assassination teams headquartered in Albuquerque, New Mexico, with a link to the NS-administered systems out of Dallas, Texas, aka Bush Nazi Skull and Bones headquarters. www.tomheneghanbriefings.com web link. June 9, 2016. It can now be reported that, as of this hour, alleged ISIS aka the Israeli Secret Intelligence Services, along with the Nazi paperclip Bush Clinton Obama CIA and NSA crime family syndicate, have activated 45 U.S. domestic assassination teams on American soil to coordinate the murders of thousands of patriotic American citizens who are described as loudmouths and who know too much and are opposed to the illegal, unconstitutional occupation of the United States of America by this treasonous filth that began in earnest with the year 2000 election coup d'etat against the American people. www.tomheneghanbriefings.com web link. September 4, 2016. Stone also reveals that the corrupt Nazi paperclip US and CIA planned to steal the year 2016 presidential election using NSA technicians headquartered in Trenton, New Jersey, which is a known outpost for the Israeli Mossad. Reference: these are the same NSA technicians that were led by CIA Bush crime family crony Charles Kane that hacked the Voters News Service at 8 p.m. CST presidential election night 2000. It is called Strip and Flip. www.tomheneghanbriefings.com web link. September 10, 2016. It can now be reported that Green Party candidate Jill Stein calls for a new independent investigation of 9/11. Further confirms that the U.S. military Michigan and Tennessee flag officers have enough evidence to arrest and detain year 2000 illegal White House occupant, Junior George W. Bush fraud and former alleged Vice President Richard Cheney for high treason involving the 9/11 Black Ops aka Adolf Hitler-style Reichstag fire that led to the destruction of the U.S. Constitution aka the Patriot Act aka Junior Bush fraud's Nazi German-style enabling act, which made every American citizen a guinea pig to have all of their phone calls and email conversations monitored by the Nazi German-administered CIA and NSA, totally illegally and unconstitutional. Co-conspirators included Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Israeli Mossad agent and then U.S. Assistant Attorney General Michael Chertoff, then U.S. Senator and Bush crime family CIA stooge, lesbian Hillary Rodham Clinton, as well as former New York Mayor, Nazi Jew Michael Bloomberg. All of the aforementioned parties were fully aware of intelligence briefings months before the 9/11 Black Op that the United States was about to be attacked aka a U.S. intelligence-run psyop with the assistance of Benjamin Netanyahu's Israel Mossad as to end the U.S. Constitution as we know it, legitimized Junior George W. Bush fraud after his blatant theft of the year 2000 presidential election, and paved the way for a U.S. CIA line of secession based on Junior Bush fraud and, of course, Nazi junior con warmonger Hillary Rodham Clinton. Note: John Skull and Bones CIA Kerry Cohen Kine was Junior George W. Bush fraud's 2004 Massachusetts Patsy-like Dukakis was for Daddy Bush, George Herbert Walker Bush, in 1988. It should also be remembered that Skull and Bones Kerry was Skull and Bones George W. Bush's third cousin. P.S. The dots have now been connected by the U.S. military flag officers relating to the previously redacted 9/11 documents which connect the role of Saudi intelligence assets in Los Angeles and San Diego to Israeli Mossad assets in Trenton, New Jersey to their role in the 9/11 Black Op, including planting demolitions in the World Trade Center buildings the night before the 9/11 Reichstag fire. It should be noted that it was then Assistant U.S. Attorney General, Nazi Jew Michael Chertoff, that allowed the 9/11 co-conspirators aka the dancing Israelis to be flown out of the United States days after 9/11 before the FBI could conduct an interrogation of the suspects. It should also be noted that sexual deviate, Junior George W. Bush fraud, allowed members of Osama bin Laden's aka CIA employee Tim Osman's family to be flown out of the United States on the actual night of 9/11 while Junior Bush fraud was getting drunk with the Saudi ambassador. In closing, at this hour, US Supreme Court Justice Ruth Ginsburg is in possession of the U.S. military Russian Federation year 2000 presidential election electronic audit, which clearly proves massive fraud on the U.S. Supreme Court in December of 2000 involving the late U.S. Supreme Court Justice John Scalia and lifelong Bush crime family crony James Baker III. As reported in previous intelligence briefings, Albert Gore Jr. of Carthage, Tennessee actually won the U.S. popular vote by over 44 million and amassed over 330 electoral college votes. More. www.tomheneghanbriefings.com web link. September 18, 2016 excerpt. In closing, expect the unexpected. PSYOPs. Black Ops. Attempts at martial law. A patriotic U.S. military counter-coup. Anything is possible. Yes, the history book on the shelf is always repeating itself. We are dealing with human beings, so it has already gotten personal and you know it is going to get physical. Related. Sunday, November 15, 2015. The time is now, the match is hot. By Tom Heneghan, international intelligence expert. P.S. At this hour the United States faces a direct declaration of martial law as the Nazi paperclip forces that control and occupied the United States have declared Operation Jade Helm, aka a martial law declaration. This criminal Nazi filth have allowed up to 700,000 alleged Arab immigrants to illegally cross over the U.S. border with Canada and Mexico. At least 100,000 of these illegal invaders are scripted Islamic jihadists who are trained in Yemen by the US CIA and the Israeli Mossad. PPS. We can now also report that command and control for the terrorist attacks in Paris, France last Friday was the US-Israeli Mossad-controlled American-Turkish Council headquartered in Istanbul, Turkey. Command and control was also headquartered in Hamburg, Germany, the headquarters for the Nazi German Bush P2 Adamas Group 9/11 Kurt Becker cell. More. www.tomandagainbriefings.com web link. Facebook, Google, Twitter push Congress to cede control of Internet. www.breitbart.com web link. Facebook and Twitter will help Google filter out fake news. www.engadget.com web link. Facebook and Israel officially announce collaboration to censor social media content. www.activistpost.com web link. FBI granted powers to hack unlimited computers by December. yawnswire.com web link. Alert, US CDC giving itself unconstitutional powers to round up and detain citizens en masse anytime, anywhere and throw away the key. www.activistpost.com web link. CDC declares medical police state, announces power to detain the sick and punish those who do not comply. www.naturalnews.com web link. www.tomandagainbriefings.com web link. Duly elected President Albert Gore Jr. awaits inauguration. The supreme law of the United States. Our U.S. Constitution demands it. As we live free or die, Lafayette remains at Brandywine and Albert Gore Jr. remains the year 2000. U.S. Constitution duly elected, non-inaugurated. Natural-born real President of the United States. Al Gore on restoring the rule of law. www.axlaw.org web link. www.tomandagainbriefings.com web link.